And we should be live now. I did a refresh.
Double checking. Still saying offline, but we'll give it like 30 seconds.
Is it live yet? I need to be on the panel.net. And Thatchy. I need to be on the Okay, so that just won me over.
Yeah, we are live.
See, my love is easily bought.
Okay, yeah, I hate using Gamebox because I still sound like I'm freaking digitalized here, but definitely going good now. Audio quality pretty good. Let me adjust my yeah, do that. Let's change my noise suppression level down. Okay, is that too on the everything? Let's double check on that stream.
Streamers Online retweeted Strife Talk episode 1. I feel so loved right now.
Yes, I believe my voice will now sound absolutely fantastic.
You're broadcasting from your evil lair, right?
Oh yes, Bane does enjoy playing Strife.
Okay. So, regarding the stream, can you see the image of Caprice standing on the bridge?
Yes.
Yes, it is the most diabolical image of the century.
Okay, fantastic. Because next to GameFox not showing up on the stream, I now also am greeted when I go to my channel with a nice black image, so I see nothing on my own stream, which is cool.
Well, don't worry, we see everything. It's highly unfortunate, though, that all the men in Gamebox seem to be having their menstrual cycles, so they are just going to continue bitching and moaning.
Probably need to use the solo cup instead for a better Bane thing instead of a glass cup, but that's okay.
Yeah. Well, it was pretty good. I'm not gonna lie, it was pretty good.
It is better with styrofoam cups, though. That's what they actually used for him to get his voice, that perfect echo for the mask, is they had him talking through a styrofoam cup with the bottom cut out of it.
Movie science.
Movie science.
Okay. Just tweeted you guys.
Millions of dollars of Hollywood work to be trumped by that 2-cent styrofoam cup.
Yeah.
Or you could use your hands like this, and it sounds still like you're talking through the mask, yes.
Okay, good.
So, do you actually have some, like, points on that Google Doc? Or are we really just winging it?
Half. I like
Half
to
and half.
when I try new things, I always just make it up in my mind. I make a couple of notes. I have them on my notepad right here, not digital. I'm sorry. I'll go new school really soon.
Oh my!
But we are, for the most part, for the first episode, winging it. Now, also, I'm going to do an official quote-unquote start. I think we went over the basics without streaming. So, here we go. Hello everybody, welcome to Strife Talk episode 1. If you've just tuned in, what we're going to do is we're going to do something in between a talk show and a podcast. We like to keep the format open. If you have any questions, ask them on the stream, and we'll try to answer those questions. So it's kind of like a hangout, ask me anything type thing. Now, there's two things I'd like to go over during this episode. One of the things I'd like to go over is the effect the recent patch had on last week's tournament. That was Strife HQ Tournament 4, I believe.
Yes.
Yes.
Yep. Okay, good. And I'd also like to discuss if Strife is a viable, compatible game. Because I've on Reddit, I see a lot of points brought up like it's too casual, it's not suitable for competitive play. But I think it's that's just my opinion. I think it's very much suitable for competitive play. And who better to discuss this with than actually the guys running a tournament while the game is still in closed beta. So kudos for that.
Why you know
So-
Dota?
Yeah, why you know Dota? Why you know League of Legends? But I wanted this to be like League of Legends. But then on easy mode, so I could win.
This game is supposed to be not toxic. How can I have fun without cursing and making people feel like they're worthless?
Where's my all chat?
You see, children, step 1 is S2 eliminates Brazil and Russia from all of it, and game instantly becomes popular.
Yeah, so jot this down if you're in internet school, jot this down. This is a valid business case. This is how you make money. Okay, but in all seriousness, Theopt, what gave you the idea in the first place, during closed beta, to actually run a tournament?
Well, that was actually the Fat idea. He's not here, unfortunately. We thought we had the resources to do. Wings was available, so why not? The game was, in your opinion, is pretty balanced. The S2 is making an amazing work in that. The euros and the items are almost almost everything balanced. So we thought maybe give it a try because the teams didn't have a place to try tactics and try try real games, not pub stump. So it was a great opportunity, and things went well and are going even better now. Although this week we will try without bans and picks in order, so let's see how it goes. I think some guys complained about the picks and the bans, but let's see how things go.
Yeah, because... Now go, Wings, go.
Okay. Well, actually, as far as tournament and competitive play are concerned with that, my plans for doing it were back at PAX Prime in Seattle whenever Strife was still in the internal closed alpha stage, and they were just previewing it out there for the public. I think that would be the third time they had it out there for public. They had it out at PAX East, E3, and then PAX Prime, if I remember correctly, last year. I met with the developers and I saw this game. I didn't ever really even hear too much about it. I mean, yeah, I got, some exposés from E3 and everything, but I was like, the concepts of this game. I mean, to me, it really did sound like it's going to be too casual. I mean, your death penalty, you're not losing gold, so that throws it into the more of the League category instead of Dota, but League, of course, has its way to make it competitive. But with the gold sharing and everything else, I'm like, how on earth can this even turn out into tournaments or anything? And what ended up happening whenever I was talking with the devs there and I actually got to sit down and do a play test, the second that I had my hands on touch with their computers on the alpha, I was really, really, really surprised. I was like, wow, this game really does have a lot of potential to become something bigger. And that's whenever, in my mind, whenever I asked them if they wanted to be competitive or casual, they wanted to make this a casual game. I'm like, okay, well, you're going to put me in this. And as a caster, I'm going to tell you what I think it's going to be. And it's going to blow up into something that has a huge potential for competitiveness. And whenever they issued out the first wave of people actually being able to get into the beta post PAX Prime, I got in, actually started to play on it, and it changed so much since that first playable alpha demo that I got to do at Prime. I literally had my eyes light up like Christmas and was like, okay, there's no way I'm not going to have a tournament to this thing. And I was just talking with Fett casually and OPT, and they came up with the idea of, really doing it. I believe I talked to people back whenever I was with Denial about, making a website and having Strife HQ, because that was a cool name, having the headquarters for Strife. Though right now, actually, I am with a different site, which is Strife Central, as far as, doing some media and stuff like that. But I definitely love casting the tournaments over there with Strife HQ and everyone else.
Okay, thanks for that explanation. I think one of the things I think is really cool about what S2 is doing with Strife is they emphasize so much in how it's a casual game, and they want it to be basically. We've heard this catchphrase before. It's the MOBA for people scared of MOBAs.
Yeah.
And what I really find interesting to see what they do so well is that there's not that much information going around on Strife, sorry, and everybody for some reason is very hyped. I only learned about Strife, I think it was December 2012, and I read a review about Strife, and it was instantly hyped because I've been in the MOBA genre since Dota 1. I missed Eon of Strife though, so I'm not really all the way back to the roots, but I'm pretty much back to the roots, all the way when, for those of you that played Dota 1, I'm from the time frame that we had a crazy old tree passive Nikes that you could just buy strength items, go jungle, and you'd be K. And that wasn't really, that was a while back.
That was back right whenever people actually started using ban list. I remember in Dota 1 where we had just figured out how to make delay reducer work before we had what was the LAN plugin for that? I don't remember. They made
it was Ghost, I think, that it eventually evolved into. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh, those were good times.
Those were the days.
But yeah, so just to dumb it down, my first experience with a MOBA was I played Dota 1, I fired it up, I went on BattleNet, and I'm the kind of guy that sees something and then wants to kill it. So my first conversation was a little like, but what do you mean I'm not supposed to attack the tower at level 1 with no items? And that's how I also learned what toxicity is. And I think that we can safely say that most people actually dislike toxicity. And I think what S2 is doing really well is they're really looking into how to reduce the toxicity. And the moment you start doing that, at least this is my take on it. What you start seeing is that people instantly start comparing the game to a Hello Kitty online adventure. Like, oh, you took some level of difficulty out of it, and now it's not going to be competitive, now it's not hardcore, now it doesn't have everything. But I think overall, S2 did a really good job designing Strife. I'm a little scared about the karma system, but I think they did a really good job on the map. I'll come back to that in a bit, but I'm just going to say for now, positioning really is key. Much more than in other MOBAs.
Oh, definitely. I think, like, the correct marketing term. Now, I get how, I know why people are coming with it. Like, I had the original idea too, but I think the correct marketing term shouldn't be like, the casual MOBA. It should be the true revitalization of the MOBA genre. Because while people think it's dumbed down, once you get in and you play Strife, you realize it's not dumbed down at all. In reality, the mechanics are just changed and they're so fluid, so much so that even if you've been playing MOBAs for years and you think you know what a MOBA is and what it should be, this new take on it, it just grabs you by the horns and makes you so excited that it's like, you find it hard to grab anything else.
Yeah, I was skeptical when I read it at first, the review, like, okay, it's a easier MOBA. Okay, so tell me how that works. But it got as I progressed reading the review, I got more and more excited. And one of the things that I find so brilliantly executed, and I really respect S2 for this, they decided to go with a lower hero pool, and basically what they're doing to themselves is throwing a well-established income model out the window, because basically the income model is always make new heroes, make them a little strong in the beginning and then tweak them, and then when everybody's had a chance in the free-to-play rotation, then they go on sale and things like that. But the more heroes you make, the more money you make. And they opted for a small hero pool, so I think that takes balls, because then you have to look at other mechanisms for income, for player cash. And if you take a look at it from a competitive standpoint, is League of Legends, for example, is always battling with balance. They come up with something new. They tried to do the AD caster in Season 3, and I remember that pre-Season 3, they deliberately tried to break the game to see what would work and what wouldn't work, and it was really frustrating in solo queue. But if we look at the limited hero pool that Strife has, I think it's very balanced, and I think again, I'm going to say this, there's more emphasis on positioning. And it's something that, because of the low hero pool, you'll pick up rather quickly as a new player. Because of, for example, if you would play, let's say you're playing Vermilion now. Vermilion is a carry. He's a bit of a glass cannon, not so much so a glass cannon as Moxie. But if you would start a team fight and you'd just be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna do damage, and you'd run up there and you'd get stunned, you'd be insta-killed almost. But if you would take advantage of the brush. Okay, I just gave Wings' secret away. This is Wings' playstyle TM. Grab a bottle of Jack, go like, I'm Rambo, bitches!
Pretty much.
I'm coming for you!
Go all in, die, but hey, I got everyone low enough to get extra kills. Vermilion support, North America.
Something interesting just came up on the stream. This is what I love about doing it live and kind of winging it. Nothing Going said there are no real new mechanics in the game that are currently in place. Does anyone want to respond to that statement?
What does he mean by no real new mechanics? Like no real new MOBA mechanics? I mean, yeah, the same mechanics are there about you moving and, kind of you have last hits as an importance, but one thing that MOBAs don't really emphasize, and I know this is gonna start the cross conversation in this, but the one thing I feel that MOBAs don't really emphasize is zoning. And even though it's not really done in Strife yet per se, because everyone's still focusing on, well, no offense to them, but Chinese Gold Farm, I really feel that zoning in Strife will be the most important one, because your GPM goes down so low if no one's able to get that last hit, that if you can effectively start zoning people, especially in your dual lanes, it'll really start changing how the actual meta and everything else is played. In Dota, you don't really zone people. You just get a few last hits, and then whenever they get close, you slap down your skills and lull on their faces. And in League, it's you hold off on your lanes, try to not die, still try for the last, and wait for your jungler to come up, and then that's how you start out zoning them, is you wait for your jungler to come up and start the ganks around, the 4 or 5 minute mark. There's whenever they usually have their buffs and they have a few levels to have their full skill rotations, and that's how the game is decided. But in Strife, since we're doing the 2-2-1 split, I feel that the top and the mid lane there, if they really started doing zone control, because Maudi does have good enough range, and you also have a few other heroes that have very good stacking range on there, that zone control would be a lot more important. And that in that way itself right there, a new mechanic that is different from the other MOBAs out there.
Yeah, I agree. Now, Nothing Going responded by saying, farming wins games in scrims right now. And I kind of agree. For example, this is one of the things that I actually had happen to me during this week. I like to play Vermilion. He's one of my favorite heroes, and I like to think I'm rather okay with him. This is a fun quote from my game. I believe the conclusion was something like that. I was a homosexual. My mother was cheap, and I should probably play Tetris from now on. I think that was about it. That pretty much summed it up. And I played. And the reason that happened was I went solo lane, and it was just completely outplayed that Rook was fantastic. Hats off to him. Um, and I just got completely outlaned and it was underleveled. And so I asked. I think Rook was 2 levels ahead, and the laning phase was still busy. I think we were like 7 minutes in the game, and so I called for a gank like many times, and then somebody finally responded from my team. It was Ace, which was a good which could have helped me, because if you have if you have Ace coming in with a successful jump from the Fog of War, and you have your slow unfamiliar, your CZ ending, you have your stacking damage and stuff. Well, that's pretty successful. You can gank Rook pretty easy, despite the fact that he has his W. But my Ace and pretty much the rest of the team responded with, "We don't do ganks. That's how you die." And that is how you lose a game. And then the game after that, I went solo lane again, because it was like, okay, I can do this. I got this. Everybody chill. And I think it was one of the best games I had. And the way I did it was I made sure that I last hit every single creep while still harassing. Who was I up against? I think I was up against a bow. And one of the things I did was I blocked the creeps in the beginning, so he ended up fairly close to my tower. And whenever I was done killing his creeps, killing the enemy creeps, we know that there's no denying in Strife, so you can't deny your own creeps by denying that gold. But there is a little trick you can do. This is if you probably know this, but what you can do is you can attack the enemy hero in your lane, and it will pull aggro from the enemy creeps, and they'll charge to you. So if you have a ranged hero and you're up against a melee hero like Bo, you can use that to great advantage by just simply kiting your enemy hero, and at the same time pulling his creeps back to your tower, back to safety, while you wait for your creeps to come up. So that basically pulls the fight, even though you're outlaning somebody, pulls the fight to your tower, and that can give you a huge golden level advantage. And by the time the laning phase was over and I was starting to roam, we just pummeled the enemy team. So I do agree that at this point in Strife, farming basically wins the game if you're up against a unorganized team, so a solo queue. I don't think this necessarily applies to competitive matches.
That is true, and as we saw in the chat, this MOBA compared to the others, if you want to start the whole comparison war, this one compared to League of Legends or Dota with the current meta, or just in general, it is so focused on the team play. It's scary. Like, in League and in Dota, you have your, ADCs and your melee carries. You let those guys just farm up in their solo lane. Even if your other lanes suffer, you kind of can have a carry to victory, especially in Dota. Not so much in League because of how all the mechanics work, but in Dota, you can have that one guy literally carry your team if he is good enough. In Strife, you can't have one guy carry you. If you have both your top and your mid lane suffering, or one of your dual lanes failing, or if your solo lane fully fails, your entire team is set back hard. Everyone has to do well if you're going to want to win a game in Strife.
There's much less room for individual performance, and I think this is one of the prime of examples once more about how this actually really is a game suited for competitive play, because there's much less room for individual contribution. And back when Dominion came out, and people were like, Dominion will never go professional, etc., etc. I had this discussion with one of my former clanmates from Dota 1. He said, "Why are you playing Dominion non-stop and no longer playing Dota 1 or Dota 2, with me?" And I said, well, because it's an entire different map. There's different elements. For example, the positioning is much more important, and also team play is very, very much more important. You really need to focus on the carry, because it's basically just non-stop PvP action. And if you let the carry get farmed or higher leveled or over itemed, you're basically done for. the analogy I made was this: imagine if you were playing Dota or League of Legends or even Strife in this case, but your towers would automatically regenerate. I'm not talking about your base buildings, but actually your towers.
Yeah.
If they would regenerate over time, that would make for a completely different game, and that would require everybody, including the pro teams, to completely adjust their style of play and adjust their tactics. And again, what I see with Strife really is the way the map is designed. You have you have a very large amount of narrow corners. The map is small, so you can navigate easy from gank to gank. Even if you die, it's not that bad. It's not that hard to go back to your lane. There's not too much damage done, and what I haven't played competitively yet, Strife, but what I see in the public games I do is that even though sometimes we're up with a team with way better players with way higher skill levels because matchmaking isn't implemented yet, so that's still possible. What we see happening is that teams that actually take advantage of the positioning and apply team play. Like for example, if somebody initiates and there is a follow up, as opposed to somebody initiates and there's no follow up, or everybody's scared of their health bar dropping and just walking around like Smurfs on the map. What happens is even though those people individually might have been able to contribute, it still won't matter as much as in other MOBAs. Because you can basically have a lower skill level but good positioning and good team play, and you can take out the enemy team that has higher skills or can cast their combos faster or has a better itemization, just because you take advantage of your team's synergy and your surroundings. And I think this is very well implemented, and I think it's also easy for new players especially to pick this up, because when I switched from Dota 1 to League of Legends, one of the things that bugged me is there were so many heroes that every single game something else was killing me, and I had a really hard time keeping up with the pace. I just kept stunned, and I go like, okay, this hero has a stun, so I need to remember that. And then you're up against a completely different composition, and you have no idea what the fuck's going on anymore. Yes, that's right, kids. I said the F word on air. It's late here in the Netherlands. It's almost 12, so Netherlands kiddies are in bed right now. And no, this podcast is not going to be PG-13. Live with it.
LOL. And, as far as us talking, we all have widely different variant opinions there on, Strife and MOBAs in general. My opinions are mainly going to be based off, of course, the highly competitive Dota scene. And we're going to have OPT. He does so many different MOBAs. I have no idea where all of his opinions are going to come from. And Vexxie's probably going to be more of the League slant on it, right? Is League the one that you've played the most of, or?
Actually, I did play Dota 1 competitively. I even had a team and everything. But after I quit Dota 1, because I was really let down with what Dota 2 was, I switched to Dominion completely. So for the last 2 years, I've exclusively played Dominion.
Okay. I have honestly never played Dominion.
Dominion is...
I've played mostly in Dota 1 back in the days, and I joined LOL during the beta on America. And I've played a bit, like regional and national tournaments. But I've played for playing serious sized season 1. Season 2. I only played season 1 and season 2 for real. So, oh yeah, and I played Downgate a bit. But that's another discussion.
Speaking about all these other MOBAs, there's something that pops into mind is back in the beginning of League of Legends. I remember that a lot of people were ripping on League of Legends for taking out denying. And what they intended by taking out denying was improving the pace of the game, speeding it up, and actually trying to motivate players to play less less conservative and more aggressive, and basically just have fun. Make it more PvP, if you will.
Totally agree. That's the best idea ever. That's why even the term is changing, and for instance, Odyssey is taking the name Team Brawler because that's what they want. They want even more fast paced, and I think that's the best choice. You have the hardcore games like Dota 2 and On or whatever, and you have these games that can be both, but can be fast paced as well.
Yeah, one of the main things that never really drew me to Heroes of Newerth is that I think one of the main flaws to Heroes of Newerth is its intense similarity to Dota, and because they are so similar, I don't and I don't really see a reason for a player to play both of them. I think it's like Dota 2 kind of does it more for me because I was so familiar with Warcraft 3 and the hero names and everything. And when we take League of Legends and we oppose it to Heroes of Newerth, oh, here we go, start Flame War. I think that, in the beginning it tried to bring in new gameplay mechanics, and I think that's kind of what made it shine, and they improved on that. I mean, and sometimes they do silly things. Like I mentioned this before in Season 3, they tried to really bump a class called the AD Caster. Where you had basically a bruiser type hero with attack damage, but give him be able to build him with itemization that will allow for heavy casting of the damage abilities. And I think that's pretty sexy. And if we talk about Strife, coming back to Strife, I think they kind of do that in a similar way. It's new. Some people will rage at it because they got so good at the one thing and they don't want the scene to shift to the other thing. But just look at things like pets and the way itemization is done. I think if I'm kind of like a freak for mechanics. I like to look at the mechanics of a game, like pop open the hood and see, okay, what's going on here. I'm not really a great player, admittedly, but I really like to always get a good understanding of how a game works and how you should build a hero and why. Because that's another thing. I don't really believe in guides like build this and win. I think guides what I think guides do personally is they're mostly intended to steer a player in a certain direction, but I think it kind of blinds new players because they see a guide, they have it on alt up, and they just build it every time, and sometimes they win and sometimes they don't win, and I think it takes a long time before new players realize, like, maybe I should analyze what this build actually really means and what's going to help me. Because say if you're playing a tank and somebody gives you the standard items, for countering bruisers and stuff, so take armor and take health, but then you're in a lane where somebody just pummels you with magic damage,
Yeah.
then the build's not going to mean very much. And I think if we look at the itemization in Strife, the way they built it for new players, I think that's one of the things that that really falls under the easy to learn, hard to master thing.
Yeah, and if you want like the basic Strife guide, I got it for you right here. Rule number 1, buy Dragon Shield on every hero. Rule number 2, do not question why you buy Dragon Shield on every hero, just do it. And then rule number 3, once you have the Dragon Shield and you start stacking power and figuring out your actual item build for the hero, look at how many times it saves you in team fights, and then send me a thank you card.
Yeah,
Dragon Shield is kind of like the bacon of Strife.
Yeah,
It's just good with everything.
That item is completely. What the hell?
And I know that we've been arguing with some of the S2 guys because some newer players, they're like, oh, I don't understand. Dragon Shield seems like a waste. It gives you free health. It gives you this shield that if you do it properly, and let's say you create a nice custom one, you're walking around at 22 minutes with an extra 600 HP that won't get you killed, that regens in 6 seconds out of combat. You can't beat that. Go to any other MOBA. Can you find an extra shield like that? You can't. In League, you have some things that'll help you out with your regen after you get out of combat. And in Dota, you have the same thing that'll kind of help you when you're out of combat. But when you're in the team fight, there is no saving grace except for some heroes' abilities. Dragon Shield is one of the best items I've seen in any MOBA.
Yeah. Yeah, talking, I agree. And now, there's something else I want your opinion on. This piqued my interest. Now, one of the things I was kind of bummed out by when I started playing Strife was the lack of escape mechanisms on certain heroes. I think for most heroes, it's safe to say, you're really forced to rethink a standardized playstyle because you lack those standard escapes. Most of the time, most glass cannons have a fairly valid escape mechanism, and in Strife that's kind of yeah. I just kind of feel like that's underwhelming, and you have to look more at your itemization to help you in your escapes and your playstyle, than to look at can this hero cater the playstyle I'm used to. Because Rook obviously, as a ranged carry, with his hook has a pretty good escape mechanism. But I think Vermilion, with the cheesy ending, it does pack the slow, but toward late game, that's not really gonna save you. So what I did is I crafted I think it's called Frost Fang. I'm not really familiar with all the item names.
The Frost Prism.
Yeah, Frost Prism. That was it. I crafted it to with a legendary bonus. So you have to slow from the item, you have to slow from your cheesy ending, but the legendary bonus is actually currently the legendary bonus I have. This is with each hit I get granted for a limited time extra movement speed. So that really helps with the playstyle. If you get it early on, if you build it early on, I build it somewhere, towards mid game. That really helps out with the ganking. Because you can come in with you can initiate with your cheesy ending. They're slowed if your team follows up and somebody does get away with low health. You have by that time you usually have fervor boots, so you can activate the ghost and you get the bonus movement speed, and then you can just slow them down, and then hopefully at some point you have an ace that's paying attention. They'll jump on the hero, and it's just good times.
With me, actually, with Vermilion, I like to go ahead and grab the warp boots so I can position myself across the map and get ready for those team fights, since I do like to do Chinese gold farming with him. And instead of doing the Frost Prism there and crafting that to a legendary, I actually built myself a legendary Zealot's Blade, which I can get very, very cheap. So you can actually have that as one of your 7-minute items. I do that instead of boots sometimes because that gives me an extra 63 movement speed and 40 attack speed, and I build that with just attack gloves and a power shard, and that puts me very, very quick in the early and mid game there. And I've yet to see people really outrun me. But with us talking about that, I see that people are wanting to know, like, what do you guys think about the current balance of the heroes in the game itself? Is it balanced? Is it not balanced? We have the knowledge from before this patch, and then at this current patch where we had before Bastion being dear Lord. Bastion being the one guy that could pretty much trash everyone. But what do you guys think about the actual balance that there is right now? Is it balanced? Is it not?
I think it's pretty balanced, and if somebody thinks it's imba at this point, I think it's pretty safe to say that S2 Games guards it pretty well. Of course, they can do this a little bit better than in other MOBAs because of the limited hero pool. But if we take this is an example I really like. Caprice, for example. What I was expecting when I won my closed beta key, we all know you get the tutorial with the dudes that kind of that gives you questing kind of feeling. You do this little mission, and I thought everybody was probably gonna roll with Caprice because that's the hero they had some experience with. So I was thinking okay, I'm gonna see loads and loads of Caprices each match because everybody knows. because everybody knows how to play her a bit and is familiar with what they're going to see on the screen. They know what the abilities will do, and so on. And then, to my surprise, I almost saw no Caprice. And so I said, okay, you know what? Let's try Caprice. Everybody else is wrong. I'm right. That's how I roll. And I just got pummeled, and I was like, what am I doing here? And then I reevaluated it, and I was kind of like, she just felt kind of clunky to play. It's like she wasn't just quite there yet. And then so in this patch, they just upped her abilities just a little bit. And I think, in the previous patch when I was up against Caprice with a Vermilion, I didn't really feel threatened. I was kind of harassing. I felt okay about everything. And now with, just those small tweaks to the ability, like the width of her area of effect spell and so on, she's become much more of a threat, but not to that level where I'd go like, oh my god, QQ, OP, please, ban, insta-ban.
I think that the balance is getting there, per se. There's never going to be such thing as a perfect balance. There's going to be one that makes some people less angry and some that make more people, just rage. But definitely this patch has introduced a lot of good balance changes. I can't say there's any really negative balance ones. I think they somehow, I don't know, it's just because I was sick with the flu when I was playing, but I swear they reduced the range on Malady's Whirlwind, and that's been throwing my Whirlwinds just off where I'm not able to hit anyone. But again, I was playing with the flu, so I wasn't able to do anything good anyways.
Yeah, I saw it on your Twitter.
As far as, most of the heroes are really balanced. I don't think any singular hero is really broken right now. If people think that the game isn't balanced, just double check against the people that you're going up against, because there are certain hero combinations that are, well, let's face it, they're decimating. Malady with anyone. Malady anybody. You can have Ace, Malady Hail. That's just going to decimate you. Lady Tinder, well, she's a little bit harder to use. I would like to say her skill.
Yeah, but she's really good.
Harder.
I mean,
she's
Great
still
Lady Tinder's really turned her game around.
She can actually jungle with her. By the way, if people don't know, ask Jay-Zoo for more details. But you can actually successfully jungle with her. You can also jungle with Hail. The two ones right now that I would say are the easiest to jungle with. Before this patch, no one could jungle at all. I saw, we were trying to have, theory crafting on the jungle there, and without some ridiculously legendary early items, there was no way you could jungle. But now, I believe Hail has a very good, kit to jungle with. Tinder can jungle. It's harder with her, but it's definitely feasible, especially whenever you get up to level 6. But as far as balance goes, I still think it's pretty good. And as far as people thinking that Bastion is still broken, I really don't think so, because they reduced the Breath of Oracle's range. His skill rotation got adjusted just enough to where he's not going to be able to one-shot you. If you're still getting in a lane going up against a Bastion and you're getting one-shot, no offense, but you're doing something fucking wrong, because I'm probably one of the worst Strife players in this entire game box, and I don't get one-shot by a Bastion. And I go up against, Mob and everyone else. Now, you may hear me screaming like a little woman and running away, but I still don't get one shot by that Bastion rotation anymore.
Yeah, you should see it coming. I mean, this is one of those points where map awareness and stuff comes into play. If you get one shot, I mean, yesterday I got one shot beautifully by a Moxie. Kudos to whoever that Moxie player was, because he actually jumped over the wall, which I was standing too close by, so I got the combo wombo, I got stunned, I couldn't move, and it was just over in seconds. And since I think Bastion doesn't really have the movement speed to surprise you if you're in a team fight or whatever. So you should see it coming. At least I see it coming, and at best I think I'm a mediocre Strife player.
I'm the worst.
Oh, we could do a 1v1 and then settle this like men.
I'll throw the game so hard you'll never see it coming.
Yeah, Wings is the worst. Last
I feel like we're
tweet
missing
she
a.
made. Last tweet she made that I had to. I was giving away a key when he made a double kill. It took like the whole game for him to make a double kill with Vermilion. It was sad. Everyone was crying about he not making a double kill.
Yeah, that's what happens. And yeah, I do like that with the chat there. It's getting me a tiny bit salty, but I was thinking if we want to bring in a player's perspective that it's really good and experienced with it that I know can talk. I would vote for Techie to talk in there from like the experienced competitive player standpoint. He's very, very informed.
Yeah. So let me just clarify this. This show is literally intended for everybody who wants to join the show and who has something to say and who's able to form a well argumented opinion. Not somebody that says it's this way because I say it's this way. That's why we also do it live with the chat in no set format. We want to get a little discussion going here. I don't want this to turn as beautiful as that might have been. I don't want this to turn into something where you get a handful of pro players that try to teach the sheep how to actually play this game, and you'll have episode 1, how to jungle, episode 2, the carry, episode 3, how to counter pick. That's kind of what I want to avoid.
And we all have, very drastic, different opinions on it, though. I try to be a little bit more optimistic instead of being my normal, super critical self there. It doesn't mean that we're not, not qualified to talk on the subjects. We just all, as, people, we're all individuals. We all have our different opinions on it. We're not saying something like, oh, God, Strife's so good. Nothing wrong with it at all. I just believe that the developers are so active with the community that I haven't seen them make any mistakes yet. Well, we'll see if something weird happens, like they actually start selling heroes and then do what they did with Han and make early access, and then I quit.
Yeah, I actually only gave Han another shot when it was free to play because it was like, well, no, not gonna pay for it.
I transitioned straight into it after Dota 1, because Dota 2, it was still concept phase for Dota 2. I was tired of, only playing with 5 people that I knew, and we were only playing against, certain groups of guys because, well, let's face it, we were elitist. And Han was new, and it had like this matchmaking system and everything, so we all switched over to that instead, and it was a lot more fun. I liked how much more fluid it was than the original, Warcraft 3 client, and I was hooked on it until they did early access heroes. It's like, whoa, I paid $30 for a game, and you said you were never going to sell power. Now you guys are technically selling power by allowing people to funnel more money into the game with this early access madness. Okay, I'm done. And literally the day that I said I was done, they initiated the first 50 people into Dota 2, and I got an email with my Dota 2 key for Steam, and I was like, sold! And went straight to Dota 2.
I got it the day before Christmas, my Dota 2 early access. The day before Christmas, I was like almost crying like a little girl, like, yeah! I waited so long for this shit!
And then years later, still no techies in Dota 2.
Yep.
And we have techies in Strife already, kind of, I mean, it's an engineer rework from Han, Ray, and Ray got so much better after this patch. Man. I like those burrow bots now with the AoE.
Do you think he's we've seen Theo. We've seen 4 Strife tournaments thus far. Do you think this patch will actually change the fairly standard composition?
Well, I'm not sure because since this week we will remove the bans and the picks. I think people will use the same picks as last week. Even though we saw some, Wings can back me up, but we saw Caprice that I don't think it was picked before last week, or was it?
Yeah.
Not some race like now, I think, or mob. It's mob, I think.
Yeah, Mob was Ray this last week, and they did good. They still kind of it kind of failed out, but that wasn't Ray's fault. I mean, he's still just so squishy there. But if you bump up his health to where he's not super squishy, then that's wherever he's going to become a little bit more imbalanced. Because as it stands, if you position him correctly and you build him up with that high power and a little bit of CDR, he will rip you a new one. And there's no doubt about it. He'll just walk around, hit you with the freeze ray, trap you in there with the static shock, and throw down burrow bots, and you're done. You're just absolutely dead on arrival.
Yeah, and you know what I especially like? But now I'm just before anybody goes raging. Yes, they said the same thing I'm going to say on the Strife Weekly.
Oh God.
Disclaimer plus plus. The gate plus the Moxie Ultimate. So good.
What
I mean,
plus Moxie Ultimate?
Yeah, this got lost in translation, I think. But I mean, the bullpen. Let's just call it the bullpen. The electric fence.
Ah.
Plus the Moxie Ultimate, so good.
There's so many things plus Moxie Ultimate is so much better than that.
Well, if you trap four people in that gate when they're charging towards, because this is a fairly standard maneuver, people try to side gank you from the brush, and you can actually just place the bullpen over the brush because they're in there anyway, even though you don't see them. And if Moxie immediately, drops down his ultimate there, then you probably can pick up a triple kill pretty easy.
True, but that said, you can throw down slow. You literally let's say about since they thought Bo might be a little bit OP, which I don't think he is, because you can dodge his his slows and everything else if you know what you're doing. But the longest slow in the game, that bow staff throw. If you throw that and you hit 4 heroes, they are moving slow enough that you can easily get off that catastrophe. Maybe not as easy as that 1 second stun, but it still sets it up just as much in my opinion.
Hale's ulti is the best with Moxie ulti.
And what about standard counters? Do you think it's too early to say that there are standard counter picks that are really, really good? Because I don't really believe in counter picking per se.
I believe that there are counters in the game already. I really do. Now, as far as which ones are most effective, Bastion in the solo can easily be handled out by a Rook. Rook can be destroyed by a Moxie. Moxie can be destroyed by, Rook and Vermilion, but then it comes down to your individual skill there. As far as the kits are concerned, kits are pretty well balanced there. But double range versus double melee, we can already say, with double range is pretty much going to win every time, hands down, even if you have something like a Bastion and a Hale, or an Ace-Hale combination there. But there are some just utter straight counters out in the game, and that's not for me playing, that's for me actually watching it on the tournaments. I mean, you can tell the players there, whenever they're picking their heroes, they perfectly pick and lane heroes up against each other that they know in that solo lane, one's going to have the advantage, even if it's very, very, very slight, that it'll happen. And as far as, not seeing what the enemy team's going, there's so few heroes. If you know who's playing in the game, you know what they're going to pick. You know who they main and who they ult. So you pretty much know who they're going to bring out to the field. So you can counterpick them and their play style very effectively. Of course, for more information on that, we'd have to have the players around. But, and
you do see that.
Mm-hmm. For the tournaments, you do see the picks and bans, in competitive mode, not in regular play. So I guess right now it's kind of limited up there to the competitive one, but in pub lobbies, you know who you're going up against normally, and you can kind of figure that out.
Well, right now, you can pretty much bank on it that there's going to be ace in your game if you just, random
ace and Malady.
Play against randoms. Yeah.
There's always going to be either a Rook or a Vermilion. What surprises me is how Vex is picked up in competitive play, but in pub play, you don't really see him. That's what's gotten me weird. I mean, he's got the best. I think Vex's ult's the best one in the game. That orbital drop. I want you to go anywhere on the map. It gives you a stun, and you can hit that off in a team fight and entirely change that. Even in a
Yeah, but
solo
it's so
pub
easy
play.
to dodge.
It's easy to dodge unless your team's good enough to create that distraction, and then, everyone, for some reason, they get in that tunnel vision.
This is why I prefer the ghost boots or the fervor boots over the spring boots and so on, is because when I see a Vex coming, I have it hotkeyed. I just activate the boots and run out of range, and then if I'm playing Vermilion, I just, I know where there's no greater disadvantage than knowing where your enemy is gonna fucking land. I mean, I know where he's coming. That's just basically saying, like, okay, guys, if you could just stay here, that would be great because I want to do some damage. So please don't, like, be aware of your surroundings and move out of the way and then just, wait for it. Because one thing to take into account as well is that there's the time between casting it and actually arriving there where you want to be when you're Vex, and even though there may be a team fight going on there, and I do agree that when it's landed correctly, you do totally turn a fight around. If the fight's already progressing, the team fight, chances are that people are moving out of the way from where the ultimate was initially placed, and the enemy team might have an advantage. So chances are likely that you can that your team will be able to gang up on Vex coming in. Although I do think that his slow is probably the best one in the game.
My best slow is bow staff throw. That's my personal favorite.
No, I think personally, I think Vex's is a little better. Mainly when you're escaping, because if you're low health and you're running away from a team fight, I think it's more likely that Vex's slow will hit you than Bo's hit will get you. And I've come across many situations where Vex's slow actually helps to turn that one kill into a double or triple kill just by reducing the enemy movement speed just enough for somebody else to pick up the kill.
Mm. We still have more people thinking that. I mean, his ult, yeah, it can be a pretty hard thing, but then again, you can run away from his ult very, very, very easily. And though Vermilion, he's got a great slow. It's an AoE, and it doesn't have that super long cast range. I just say, and I get that Vex is, the projectile speed's a lot faster than that bow staff throw, so it can really get you. And plus, it takes it a few seconds, and then it slows you. But I don't know. I just feel that as far as slows go, I still think the longer range is what takes the cake, and that's literally just from what I've watched. I mean, you can have someone that's running away, and they would be out of the range of the Vex slow, but they're not out of the range of the bow slow. And with Vex, if you want to close that gap to get off the slow, you have to have boots. That's the only way about it. Bow, you have a built-in speed boost to come off there and slow them. It's like, oh, they're out of range. Let me just enrage myself. And then he walks up, and then you're instantly in range, and that 1 or 2 pixels where you wouldn't have got it with Vex, you instantly have an extra 10 with bow. Fling it out, hits them on the rerun back again, because if they're at that max distance, then they're instantly going to have that double proc of damage off of it, and that could make the difference between the life and death situation there.
Yeah, okay, that's a very good example. It's hard to argue with that, because yeah, if you have your if you have your speed boost on bow available, I think if you tie that to the use of the slow, I think that's more likely to pick up a kill and to like I stated, turn that one kill into a double or a triple. Um, and I think that if you would have to pick, if this is hypothetical, but if you were going into a match and you had to pick a hero, if you were the last one to pick and you had to pick one with a slow, and you had to choose like either bow or Vex, I think I'd also end up going with bow because I think he has a better sustain to begin with, so I think he will have a bit of better laning phase as well. If you run a double lane, because bow is such an asset in a double lane, especially mid, because he can move around pretty quickly, and when your guard is down, even for a second, and bow uses his enrage and just comes in from the fog of war on the side, that's just, you get pummeled. That's just so unforgiving.
And we were talking about the balance of the game. The one thing I forgot about, one of the main, most important things there that determines competitive gameplay. Balance starts to really, quote unquote, go out of the window with crafted items, but that comes down to personal investment into the game. And by personal investment, I mean you have to invest a lot of hours and open up hundreds and hundreds, or maybe even thousands of chests to get enough actual or an enchanting powder to build the best items. And those items on a hero that seems really balanced to begin with can tip that scale very, very hard.
Yeah, the thing is, what it does with, if you craft the right items, it makes already, powerful heroes, it just makes them ridiculously broken OP. I wouldn't say the items I've crafted make my Vermilion ridiculously OP, but like I said, the movement speed that just adds to your kiting ability is devastating late game, because when I play Vermilion and I reach late game, I just try to be tasty. I try to taunt them, make it seem like I go a little bit out of position. Sometimes I overextend that, thinking I'm too good, and I get pummeled into oblivion. That happens, but when I look tasty, and somebody like Bo, for example, thinks I'm gonna just go in and fucking wreak havoc, and because you have the properly crafted item, you can kite him so well, and he'll be sorry, even with his massive sustain, that he even tried to think about going to charge in, and he probably won't be doing it again. But regarding balance, there's one thing I'm currently very unhappy about, is that they changed the power conduit.
Oh, the chat requests us to have webcams. I thought that was a good idea.
To have webcams.
Webcams, they want to have the face cams on there to have us talking.
They want to have... Oh, then I should have shaved. I have
I'm not clean shaven.
I have a very large bushy beard at the moment with the Marlon Brando look, because I actually took a shower before I was going into Strife Talk, so now I have the Marlon Brando look where I didn't want to do my hair. I have really frizzy curls, so I just took like a bunch of hair gel, smacked it in, and just pulled my hair back, so now I look like a bearded Marlon Brando.
Hey, it is Strife Talk episode 1. It is our first one. We could just go and do it big and immediately switch on the webcams where we all look dazed and confused.
Yeah, like what? And then realize that there's a bottle of Jack Daniels standing directly next to you, and try to push it out of the way before anybody notices.
I am now 24 years old. I am like an old man. I have 1 year left of my gaming prime before I'm supposed to quit and get a real job, okay?
Thanks, Wings.
I don't think it matters anymore.
I'm 25. Thanks a lot.
You're not a competitive player.
Yeah, so probably not the best time to mention that I'm actually 27, almost 28.
GG. The cast is over right now, guys.
Yeah.
Podcast
Okay,
is
yeah.
up. We're too old for this shit.
Yeah, forget about it. It's over. It's done.
We're graduating to radio now. Miley Cyrus.
Yeah, coming up for you now. Miley Cyrus will take a quick break and then never return. No. Yeah, but what's up with Power Conduit? What I didn't really like is that Power Conduit is, it's one of those final items. That it's an item I always see like as an icing on the cake when you do a good game and you get that advantage and you can actually manage to get the Power Conduit at the right stage of the game. It's just devastating for the enemy team, and it used to give you a 10% power increase before the patch, and I kind of like those bonuses, because they really tie in nicely with the idea that at the end of the game, if you performed well and you saved up your monies, like your mommy and daddy taught you, like don't spend it all on candy,
Yeah, listen to me pouring that.
Yeah, I'm kind of jelly right now.
Oh, in a glass. We don't take shots here. We just drink the entire glass of alcohol. Forget about it.
Yeah, I can send you some isopropanol.
I actually need some Czech Republic absinthe here. We'll make it interesting.
Yeah, but coming back to the Power Conduit, I think it's that icing on the cake for when you do well and you saved up and you made smart choices during the game. It can be devastating, and it should feel like you like achievement unlocked. And when they took away the 10% boost, yes, admittedly it was a very, very big bonus, and it was probably too cost effective. I think it was a bit, yeah. Well, it wasn't OP. But it wasn't a real choice. If you could afford it and it was good on your hero, you'd just get it. At least that's my take on it. And now that they removed the 10%, I would have been happier if they tweaked it down to like 5%, because it would still tie in nicely with the whole philosophy.
The new Power Conduit
like
made me fling my keyboard across the room. I punched a baby in the face and cried in a corner. No, that's my take on the Power Conduit. Because I was building it on Malady, and it allowed it to where if you were good enough and you knew how to build up and stack power with custom items, you could use bolt the Bedlam to deal a minimum of 1,700 damage when the Grimoire would allow it to penetrate more, and then you had your kill-stealing Pyro Staff doing another 1,000 damage, so you'd get off, clear 3,000 to 4,000 damage rotation there by the time everything was said and done. Dude, I got so salty now. The plus 32 power is great. The mana regen, though, I could throw that out the window. If you want to nerf it down, let's do it like you do it with the Immortal Gaze there. The power stacks up by an extra 1 or 2% of your total power. That puts it more feasible, and throw that mana regen back out the door. I want more power. That's all. I'm power hungry. I'm like a little gremlin after midnight. You gave me the food whenever that Power Conduit had 10%. But I understand why they did it. And the balance overall, yes, while I appreciate it, definitely miss the old Power Conduit.
Yeah, same here. So S2, if you're tuned in by any chance, bring it back.
Bring it back and
fix it.
Give us a butterfly while you're at it. You have it in Heroes of New Earth. Give us that power item that gives us some evasion while you're at it, and then let's hear all the people rage whenever we have a bastion that builds it, and then you can't hit the bastion at all. Oh god. Because then they'll be like, oh, Bastion's OP again. And then Minerva will get it. And then Minerva's OP. And I'll take it and I'll craft the legendary version of it with mana items and put it on supports. And then you have the unkillable support that goes around trolling you with Whirlwind all day. Oh.
Well, man. One of the things I was really excited about with Strife is that when I played Dota, I had a really, really good Crystal Maiden. I played support. And Maiden was like #1 support. She was so good.
Shadow Shaman?
No, man. For me, it's got to be Maiden, Crystal Maiden.
For me, my #1 support's Omni, the heals.
Oh yeah, that's sexy. But in Strife, the gold sharing system, it completely makes you rethink what support is and what support should do. You could even view support as something really basic, like just standing there in fights and throwing stuns and doing nothing else. And coming back to we've mentioned this a couple of times. Coming back to competitiveness, because this was supposed to be the overall team of the We Winged It episode 1. Theopt, I have a question.
Go ahead.
Should it prove later in the game that it's going to be pay to win to some degree, and that if you just chuck money at the game, you'll craft items faster, because right now you really have to invest time, and I'm kind of not opposed to that.
How you can't craft items faster whenever you inject money. You can only make them permanent. That's the only thing rubies will let you do. They don't allow you to bump up the enchant. It's only for making the item permanent, for tempering.
No. That's not true. We will be allowed to open an additional chest. That means you will get the double speed in terms of getting the items or the craft.
Exactly.
Okay, but it's only double. Instead of making 10 games, you have to make 5. 12.
Yeah, but that doesn't necessarily mean you're selling power. I mean, you're not gaining a true advantage over a skilled player with getting.
Yeah, but it's also not
resources
nothing.
faster.
It's not. If we look at this black and white, it's not nothing. It's not.
Yeah,
if
but
it's only cosmetics where you can spend money, then it has no real impact on the game, except that you might feel better if you have a really cool skin.
Yeah, well,
That's
it's
kind of
not
like a mental
like
boost.
it's not like League where you spend money and you get a hero that no one else has, and then it's in your pool, and then you can absolutely trash the enemy team because they don't know how to counter it either.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, for starters,
But-
you will feel that difference because you will have more items than the others, and you also have all pets at the same time, and no one has all pets unlocked. Okay, I don't know no one that has all pets unlocked at the moment. So a guy that gets money in the game will have all pets.
Just made a joke. Yeah.
You have all pets?
No. Not yet.
Okay.
But what I'm curious about is, if at a later stage it comes to show that teams that have been playing this game longer, and thusly will most likely have more crafted items, which will cause some sort of imbalance in the game. What will you do to level out your tournament? Will you just say, okay, no crafted items allowed, or what's your take on that? Or they will only be allowed in the finals?
I've already got a take on it. OPT, you can give me your version, and I'll give you mine.
Go ahead.
All right, my version of it. I have already thought about this. I have seen the people play, and there is only one easy solution. Saturdays is the pro scene tournament, and Sundays is the amateur, where no pros will be allowed to play. If I see you on sub accounts, I'm going to smack you back over to China, wherever you came from, and you won't be able to enter in anymore. And that way we can have high quality control on that. And once a team has played X number of games and we know that their accounts have, X number of custom items and pets and whatever, they get booted without any chance into that pro scene if they want to continue playing. And the amateur one is always open up for those new players that want to get into competitive but do not have those items. Easiest solution, North America, 2014.
So you're just gonna say we're gonna do a class system?
That's basically it. If you have enough of the items and everything else and your skill is there, that you can dominate other people in pubs supremely easy, you put them into the pro series, and then the amateur series is there for the people that are newer, or they don't have the skill level and they definitely don't have the items. I mean, that's the only way to have balanced tournaments, because if you just have an open all the time, you're going to have only 2 or 3 teams winning each and every time. Everyone's going to get their hopes and dreams utterly crushed, and they're gonna quit playing competitive. At least that that's my take. I mean,
that's
you have
a
all
nice
played
idea.
competitive. You play competitive, Vex. How does it feel to just keep getting crushed over and over and over week after week in a tournament. Does that make you want to keep playing in that same tournament, or do you wish there was one where you actually had more of a chance to get a few wins under your belt instead of getting like KO'd round one?
I'm gonna be completely honest here.
Yeah.
And I know it's gonna sound weird. But actually no, because I'm more of the type that looks at
Playing against people that are better than you. And even if
I'm
you're
kind of
losing,
the
you're
type that goes.
learning.
I'm kind of the type that goes like, what can I do better? What was my fault? You know, you have the expression "blame the jungler."
Yeah.
I look at a match and I lost, and I go like, okay, well, what could I have done better? And then sometimes, admittedly, I'll say to myself, I could have done nothing better. My team just sucked, because those things still happen. But I wouldn't really, you know, seek out an easy tournament where I had a better chance. I just, you know, try to better myself. And I think for the first year of Dota 1, I think I've lost like 90% of the game, all games I played, competitive and non-competitive. And I just, you know, grasped that, like, you know, I tried to say, okay, I established I couldn't play a carry, so I just gave up on that idea. But it was really good with, you know, heroes like Bristleback and such. So I just focused on those roles and just developed those skills further. And I said, like, okay, what keeps going wrong? I get stun locked. Why am I getting stun locked? Well, because I'm in range of the stun. So move out of the range of the stun, instead of you know, approaching that like I lost the match because you know, my tank didn't shield me from the stun, so it's the tank's fault we lost. You know, that's kind of how I approach these games, and that's what drew me towards Strife. Is, you know, they want to combat toxicity, and this is a fine example of a game I had yesterday, where I was playing Vermilion. And I had, this is very funny, I had almost all power items, and our lady Tinder on our team said, you built all the wrong items, you need to build power. And I just said, instead of raging, I just said, okay, well, what would you have built? And that was just completely silent for the rest of the game. But I was actually legitimately interested in the answer. And I'm kind of sad that I didn't get it.
Yeah, in retrospect, for me, I know whenever I'm holding the team back or the team's holding me back, whereas in Strife, that's not going to be the case. I mean, the team all has to be there, and if they're not all there, they're all going to lose. No offense to people who think that I am team mentality that's been instilled to us by League and Dota, but you can throw that opinion right there out of the window, because that's not going to work. I mean, we've seen people try. I've tried so hard. And in Strife, you can't carry your team to victory if they're not able to win their lanes. It's impossible.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah, exactly.
If you think Bastion was broken before, and he was broken, honestly, in the other patch, if you still think he's broken now, try to do a single carry on that Bastion with the rest of your teammates being mediocre or less than mediocre compared to the enemy team, and tell me if you win. Just come back and tell me, and I'll change my opinion. But it's not a one-player game. You have to have 3 people doing well if you're wanting your team to succeed, and that's if the other 2 people are held back, you know, in the 290 to 350 GPM, because at the late game they'll have enough items to have some form of survivability. But if you have more than 2 people failing, you're done for. And if those 2 people that are failing are playing heroes that you really need in team fights, like, you know, Ace and Hale, like a tank and a support, and they don't have the items there for survivability, even those 2 failing just enough is going to throw you into that GG you lost. So
I think with one it's doable, because one of the things I like to do if we fall behind, or if I had a bad laning phase and we managed to get Syndara and Krydos is pushing the lane, I actually split push. I actually, you know, I push the lane a little bit, but then I you know, divert into the jungle and look which lane is unguarded, and I you know, split push, getting some extra gold stats, and just putting pressure on 2 lanes at the same time, and we'll fall behind on kills a little bit, but it allows me to, you know, level up to where I should be, and then contribute a lot better in the coming team fights. But I've been getting raged at a lot because of that strategy. So first off, I've just clarified what I was doing on the stream. So if I'm gonna make a bookmark, and when somebody rages at me, I go, click this. you will know what's going on. But I think that that indicates you can have one missing, but because of the lessened travel times on the map, I think that with two you're indeed. I'm not usually Mr. Negative, but with two you're really done for because
I'm
mobility is
Mr.
really a thing
Rage.
here.
My karma is going to be in the negatives all the time. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with negative karma.
Well, the karma system is something I'm really interested in and also really scared about because I remember that feeling with Dota 1 where if you'd had a bad game, you'd basically just lost an hour of your life waiting for the enemy to finish when it was clear that it was over in like the first 15 minutes. And that kind of, created a special breed of MOBA players that have that special type of rage inside them. And most of, it's like sorry guys, I'm going to talk about League of Legends again. Most people, after the end of a Dominion game, just, would instantly downvote the bad player or report the bad player just for playing bad, just for playing sucky. But yeah, what the fuck happened to learning and trying new things? Does that mean that when you want to try a new hero, you're doomed to play only against bots, or else you'll get bad karma? How will the karma account for your actual skill level? If you get downvoted each game when you play bad, but you're actually behaving and your chat log shows no profanity and you actually respond to pings and you try to help, but you just don't, you haven't really mastered your hero or something. How will the karma system, come into effect? Will you just be brutally punished because a bunch of rage kids said, we lost, it's your fault, click, 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 downvote? It's
True,
something
we
I'm
should
keeping my
have
eye
it to
on.
where every time someone gets a downvote, it saves a demo file of that match, and it gets thrown into this large database, and S2 hires a highly skilled train of monkeys to watch these demos to see if someone was trolling, if they were actually trolling, or if they just sucked, and then determine the effects on it from there. And by highly
Well,
trained
you
monkeys, I
have
mean
to
people like myself.
you have to take in mind that the matchmaking will take in account the number of games you had with that hero. That means, okay, you can suck one time or two, but maybe you can suck 10 times with the same hero. That's your fault there. So remember, matchmaking will take account in that. So
Matchmaking will take that into account, but that still doesn't really prevent people from just spam clicking down karma or negative karma because you're trying new things in a non-bot game. And
force them to type a reason on why they're downvoting, and then have someone actually look at those reasons. And if they're not throwing in real reasons and complete sentences, you tell them, well, sorry, downvote doesn't count.
Yeah, and how about as a form of punishment, next to bans and stuff, you get a chance to redeem yourself by actually viewing karma cases.
like the tribunal on League of Legends.
No, not like the tribunal, more like community service. Like, we found you guilty of being a bad egg, and now you have to show us that you care about the community, so...
I personally like the Dota 2 take on it instead. It's not that you get a ban, you get something worse than a ban. You get shoved into low priority, and that keeps stacking up more and more, where you get zero rewards from it. You're playing with the worst people on earth, and it makes you seriously think about your actions, because the second you get thrown that low priority, you know that you are in the shithole. And once you get out of that low priority, because if you've been in there, I know some guys that they were really toxic in Dota, but they were in low priority for like 4 months. The second they got out, they learned their lesson and they haven't been back in since. Some people, they won't learn. Just like if we ban people from the game since it is free, they'll make another account and another account. They just won't learn. You need to find some form of cruel and unusual punishment for them so they really understand their actions. Because
yeah, but you can't really change people now, can you?
Oh,
that's the
but
thing I
can
always
we?
like about MOBAs that try to implement system after system is you can't really change human behavior. You can try to condition it as best you can, but you can't really make a game that will automatically change the behavior of people. I mean, look at the closed beta. Sometimes you get really toxic matches, and
We
I just scratch my head and go like, this wasn't supposed to happen.
we do something like
What went
Sword Art
wrong?
Online where they have that nerve gear hooked into their systems, and whenever they're toxic, it shocks them. Yes.
Yeah,
That
shock
likes.
collars. Like when you have to use a biometric shock collar to play the game. If it's not on, the game won't boot.
Every time you type fuck or Brazil or anything negative, it shocks the crap out of you. It'll teach them a lesson real quick, and you can't play the game unless you have a shock collar attached, plugged in via USB 3.0, and it registers that shock collar's ID. S2 sends them out to everyone for free. And then after you quit playing the game for so long, they send you a box and you have to mail it back. And if you don't, they will send a man to your house to retrieve it. I like that. That would change it real quick.
Yeah. See what that would do for your player base.
Hey, people would still play. I would still play. I wouldn't care. There's a shock collar on me.
Now,
I would just,
now
never
imagine
curse.
if we would ship that with like Hello Kitty Online Adventure.
I played Hello Kitty Online. I think I was the only player in the universe playing it because I never saw anyone else on it this year. So, yeah, that happened.
Yeah, so then that happened.
Yep, that happened.
Okay, so I think for this first episode, as far as my opinion goes, I think we're drawing near that close. I had a couple of things I wanted to highlight. I didn't do all of them, but there's always next week. Open Broadcaster is indicating that we've been talking for almost an hour and a half, and I'd like the edited form of the podcast to be somewhere around 45 minutes.
Okay.
So we could go on for hours and hours if you'd like. But as for me, I feel that we can, start working towards a close.
Oh,
So
I
stay
feel
tuned.
comfortable that we can start winding it down.
Yeah, well, eventually your whiskey bottle is gonna become empty, and you'll
I got
be
12.
forced to wind it
Don't
down
worry about
because
it.
you're. Yeah, but your vocabulary skills will be lessened, so you'll
You would be
you'll do
surprised.
the podcast
Actually,
like saying
Nope. You can
things.
ask anyone that knows me in person. Whenever I've been at PAX and I'm casting tournaments at QuakeCon and everything else, I drink for 4 days straight. The alcohol never ceases flowing, and whenever you look at the VODs, I talk a hell of a lot better than I do on those Saturday mornings. I don't slur words. It's surprising that I don't slur words. I'm like Russ Martin. The more alcoholic I am when casting, the better I am and the less mistakes I make. I don't understand why. Maybe I'm just super relaxed, but
I bow down to
Wings
you, sir.
Wings
You
gets sexier voice.
yeah.
Yeah, he's more of a man than most.
The more you drink, the better you sound.
The
Then
better you
can't
bane.
walk.
Well,
Yes.
do you want to make a key giveaway?
Yeah, I wasn't totally expecting a key giveaway, and I didn't really announce this podcast other than that there was going to be a podcast. I just wanted to, have people listen in for the hell of it. So I think it would be really cool if we reward people that actually stuck it out with us with our jibber jabber, with a key.
Yeah, check Skype.
Let me check it. Oh,
The
yeah, cool.
awesome
I
18
have
people here get to fight for a key.
yeah.
Yes.
Hello
Okay,
Kitty
so
Online
if you
Adventure
want,
Groups.
okay, so listen, here's the deal. If you want a key, I have one now. So contact me on eBay. We'll get this sorted out real quick.
We are accepting payment of your soul, your firstborn child's soul, or 2,000 US dollars or 3,000 euros. Your choice.
So there's 3 people on the panel right now. So I'd like to do a 1, 2, 3 for this key giveaway. Here's my idea. One of us names a hero. The other one of us names a laning partner, and the other one names a starting item. So we have the hero you're playing, we have the hero you're laning with, and we have the starting item. Now, whoever comes up with the best follow-up item gets the key, or Or what we could do is, scrap that idea. I'd like to do it like this. I'm sorry, I'm just making this up as I go. How about we say this is your laning partner and you're up against these two heroes in your lane. Who do you pick? Because we talked a little bit about counter picking, and we said there were counter picks. Who do you pick? And whoever, pleases all three of us or most of us gets the key.
Whoa, that's too hard. We only have like 10 people here.
Pleasure.
Yeah.
Oh my.
All right. So how do you? I've never had the power to give away a closed beta key. So how do you like? How do you?
No, it's interesting.
How do you
Your
normally do
idea.
this?
I normally
put them
do
together
like
and make them fight to the death.
yeah.
Whoever's
Well,
left
if
in
I
the
want to
chat.
give it fast, I simply say when wings die, we give a key, and they will all go in 10 seconds.
Okay.
I say we do word giveaway with the giveaway button on Twitch.
There's a giveaway button on Twitch.
Yes. Do you use Google Chrome for your web browser?
Yup. Yep.
Here we go. Let me give you the link for you to install that free add-on from the Chrome Web Store.
This is actually disclaimer plus plus. This is the first time I've actually used Twitch. So
Yeah.
it's cool that you say RTD, please. But hey, I'm just trying to get by. I'm
Install
trying to
that
create something here.
your Chrome, and then go to your dashboard in Twitch, and there will be a gift icon down there by the chat button on your dashboard.
I see it. Oh yeah, there. Okay. Let me get this sorted out. Oh, you need to sign in to Google Chrome to get that done, right?
Yeah.
To get the add-on. Oh man, I can't sign into Google Chrome because I don't have a Google account.
You can use any email account to create your Google account. You don't need a Gmail.
Okay, seriously, this is becoming a hassle for me. I'll make sure I'll have this on episode 2 if we do
Yep.
decide to do a giveaway.
Okay,
You
I got
guys
it.
are
I'm
moderators, so
thinking
you guys
of a
do the giveaway
number.
button.
I think of a number between 1 and 10, and whoever gets the number gets the key. And I will PM Miss your host Vexxie the number.
Oh, yeah, I have the
Oh.
number on my screen right now.
I like
We'll
this.
do it old school. Guess the number, and if you have the number, I'll PM you the key. It's as simple as that.
First come, first serve.
Boom! First go! Oh! Ha Alright, Aggie Cha wins the key because it was lucky number 7. Oh man, first go. I did like Marquis X with his 9,000. It's over 9,000.
No, you did it right at 9,000. That'd be 9,001. Shame on you, Marky. Shame on you.
Yeah.
Oh,
I've just
yeah.
made Marquis X a channel moderator. I'm assuming this is the Marquis X from Strife HQ.
Yeah, you just
Looking
come
at
back.
you here, Theo. Okay, good. Okay. I liked your articles, by the way. Well, with that being said, and ending the show with a beta key giveaway, I hope you will still tune in next week. I'm gonna try and edit this into a real podcast this weekend, and next week we'll hopefully have things a little bit more aligned and wing it a little bit less, and hopefully over time it will crystallize into something really, really beautiful with the help of you guys. You've seen it right now. If you type something and we find it interesting, we'll dive into it. And we'll pick it up in the show, because that's what we're really trying to do here: get a one-to-one line with the community, and answer some questions they have, and hope that everybody will hang out with them. Now, all that Strife Talk really made me hungry for a game, so I'm gonna do one. Whoever wants to play with me, my in-game name is Vexxie, and yeah, obviously I have GameVox. I want to thank Selm, who so graciously sponsored us with a Strife Talk private channel to host the podcast on. And with that, we're coming to a close, and hopefully see you next week.
Amazing outro time. OPT, ready, go.
Yeah, this is where I edit in the Andy Griffith theme.
OPT has no outro.
I have no outro. I've actually
I will the outro.
I've been coding the whole podcast because something amazing I'm doing.
Okay, well then I will do OPTs and myself for outros. Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, for the awesome voice that some of you guys could not understand, that is the OPT, the leader of the Strife HQ, your headquarters for all things Strife. I am WingsLTD, known as one of the main casters for Strife. I am from Strife Central, your central information headquarters for the competitive side of Le Strife. Don't worry, we're not going to compete with you, OPT. We love you, but we're taking over the esports news coverage. Got to type up all the things. And he goes silent. He's like, I hate you.
Yeah, I was thinking about you. I hate you. Well, I knew that was coming. So
you knew it was coming, but hey, at least I'm just keeping it to the esports side of it. You do all the guides and the stuff. I do the esports where I slap your face on top of it all, making new emotes all day. But also we have the host Vexxie.
Yes, thank you very much for that outro. I have no affiliation with anything whatsoever except Strife Talk in itself, which doesn't have a website or anything. But if you'd like to catch me, I'm on Twitter, twitter.com/IamVexxie, and I'm also on Strife with the username Vexxie.
Oh, yeah.
That was it. Peace out, laser dinosaurs, y'all.
And now it'll load up Strife before OPT kills me.
Yeah, I'm going to Strife.
Yeah, I'm
catch you all on the other side. Yeah, I'm probably going to stream Strife, but whatever. Yeah, okay. So, catch you guys on Strife.
Later.